Hi, Auntie Lindsay here. Just real quick before I start this, if you are easily triggered, very sensitive, I am not the person for you. I am very direct and I've been through a lot in my life and I don't have time to sugarcoat things. You are responsible for your own triggers, so if you're easily triggered, scroll on by. Now that that's out of the way, this I had posted the other day. This came up on my Facebook memory. This is me speaking in 2018 in front of the state capitol in Olympia, Washington. I am from Washington State. And at this time, I was 43 years old. I had been working on finding my missing 16-year-old niece, so I was there to not only represent the family court reform and help out my buddy that was running for a political position, but also speak about my experiences fighting for basically rights of children, because in the state of Washington, I don't know about any other state, but in the state of Washington, any child over the age of 13 has the right to refuse health and mental health services. And I didn't really know how much issues that would cause while I was trying to find my niece, and every time I'd find her and bring her back, how I couldn't get the help that she desperately needed, and the man that kept taking her would take her again and take her to another state, crossing multiple state lines. So it was very, very frustrating. And to learn, I had already been working with the homeless youth for a number of years. I was with Stand Up for Kids for 10 years, working with homeless youth out on the streets of Seattle, doing street outreach, giving out food and socks and getting to know kids' stories, also training new volunteers. So at that point, I had been really involved with the community and also working on and off in disaster work. My first disaster being Hurricane Katrina, traveling around to other states. I had done so much in that 43 years of life. I had traveled all over the world. I was very lucky at an early age. When I was about 12, 13 years old, my grandfather took me to England for the first time, got my first passport, to introduce me to the family, because both my grandparents grew up in England as well as my mom did. And I never let that passport expire, and I love traveling, so I got the travel bug quite early in life. But there was this other side that a lot of people don't really know about. I was born in 1975 to a teenage mother. She was just 18 at the time. She had her own mental health issues, plus she was an only child, and I'm sure she felt extremely neglected and emotional by going to school in England while her parents were here in America trying to make a better life for themselves. But also me being the firstborn, and then later having 3 younger brothers eventually by all different dads. Well, 2 of the brothers, not in order, had the same dad, and the one brother, his dad was their dad's brother. So my brothers were brothers and cousins, and my mom had all sorts of issues, and she never focused on her own healing, so instead she bled on the rest of us kids and anyone around her. She didn't know how to control all those emotions and feelings that she was having, and I'm sure a lot of irritation and frustration. Me, as I get older, and the health issues that I've had, I do share half my genes with her, so I get in a way where she was coming from, but also at the same time disappointed that she never gave herself a chance to really heal and really focus on herself, but instead take it out on everybody else. So I was constantly in fight or flight, walking on eggshells my entire childhood. I learned real quick to suppress my emotions. Everything that I was going through, I just kept suppressing over the years, and that's what I learned to do to survive. That's all I knew how to do, was survive and not thrive. I'm telling you that because it will manifest later in life if you suppress all those emotions. There's a reason why, 88% of women that have the autoimmune issues is because we learn to suppress from an early age, and it's not healthy. And just like I've said before, I didn't associate trauma with physical health. So it's very important. I know a lot of us, Gen X and older, we come from that generation where children were seen and not heard, and you're not supposed to talk about your issues. You're not supposed to talk about things out loud. You're just supposed to go on with life, pull them up by your bootstraps, and just suck it up. Well, that only works so far until you're much older and you start getting sick and you wonder why. It's not good to suppress things. So anyways, this was 2018. I was fighting for my life to save my niece, and my whole world came crashing down. I got incredibly ill. I was, working with police, working with CPS, following up on leads, talking to other parents, talking to classmates of hers, responding to text messages and tweets and whatever, who was commenting on my things on YouTube and Facebook, and also dealing with the man that kept taking her, this 47-year-old creep that would text me horrible things when he was obviously under the influence of something, and then groomed my niece to also text or leave weird voicemails on everyone's phones and the internet, and comment and make new profiles on social media. And it was just a whirlwind of things, everything at once. And I was trying to do everything, just be there for everybody, because I was the oldest and I was the spokesperson for the family, and everyone else was dealing with their own things. They were getting, high. They were doing things that wasn't exactly helpful. I felt like I was all alone, and the people that I thought were close to me left me at the time that I really needed them. And maybe they weren't meant to be in my life forever, but at that time it hurt so bad. So I was going through so much, and I was getting sicker and sicker, and I was tired of masking everything, and everything was falling apart. I was losing the only family that I had, and I felt like I had nothing left to lose. This was what I was supposed to do, and I didn't give a shit about anything else. I just wanted to find my niece, and I wanted what I had of a family left put back together. Of course, that didn't happen that way. And unfortunately, the niece that I was fighting for ended up passing away in 2021 at age 20. Also lost a sister-in-law the year before. She was 31. And dealing with, my other brother's kids that were in and out of foster care, and trying to connect them with their grandmother, and it was just a lot at once. And me being me, I needed a distraction, and I had been working on my family tree for years, going to England and Scotland and getting to know stories from the family of, my grandmother's side that I really didn't get to know when I was younger. I knew my grandfather's side and his family and, on different parts of England, but I didn't really know my grandmother's side. So I was getting to know that side as well. And then I did this DNA test that was becoming popular at the time, and holy moly, I discovered I had a new biological father and a sister that lived down the street. And here comes the identity crisis as well as a health crisis. And yeah, everything just came crashing down at once, and I didn't know what to do. I was so sick and just fighting to survive, and wondering what would happen if I was no longer here, because it seemed like this was it. This was the end. Anyways, part 2 coming up.